Welcome to Drips News, your source for up-to-the-minute reporting on today's most critical events. Stay connected online for breaking developments. Tonight, we delve into a controversial appointment at the FBI, examine Home Depot's surprising financial rebound, and analyze the complexities surrounding peace negotiations in Ukraine. Plus, we'll investigate the impact of Elon Musk's efficiency drive on the federal government and explore the potential economic fallout of proposed aluminum tariffs. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Dan Bongino, a prominent conservative commentator with a history of criticizing the FBI, has been appointed as its deputy director. Bongino's past accusations of corruption and deep state collusion within the agency have raised eyebrows, particularly given his consistent attacks on the FBI's integrity in his podcast. While the FBI has remained silent, Bongino defended his ability to perform a nonpartisan role, citing a commitment to service that transcends his media persona. This controversial appointment sparks debate over the potential impact of his past statements on his leadership within the Bureau. Now let's turn to market. Home Depot delivered a robust fourth quarter, exceeding Wall Street's forecasts and snapping an 8-quarter streak of declining comparable sales. Shares surged nearly 5% as earnings per share hit $3.02, and revenue reached $39.70 billion, both surpassing expectations. Comparable sales rose by 0.8%, signaling a turnaround. Despite acknowledging the impact of high interest rates, CFO Richard McPhail remains optimistic, citing consumer resilience and broad-based growth. The company forecasts continued growth for the year ahead, anticipating consumers will adapt to the current economic climate. Turning now to international affairs. The Kremlin is contradicting President Trump's assertion that Russia would accept European peacekeeping troops in Ukraine. Trump claimed Putin voiced no objections during a meeting with President Macron, but Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov refuted this, citing Foreign Minister Lavrov's stance that NATO troop deployment is unacceptable. This denial adds complexity to the evolving dynamics between the Trump administration, European allies, and Russia. The situation underscores diverging perspectives among global players as diplomatic efforts navigate a complex geopolitical landscape. Now let's see how things are changing in Washington. Tonight, we investigate Elon Musk's controversial efforts to streamline the federal government as head of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Despite President Trump's praise, critics worry about the initiative's effectiveness and impact. Sources describe chaos within federal agencies, with drastic cuts and restructuring leading to paralysis and the loss of experienced civil servants. A directive requiring detailed task reports sparked further dissent, adding to instability. While the White House remains supportive, the long-term consequences of these changes are uncertain. Speaking of Elon Musk, Elon Musk's net worth has plummeted by over $100 billion since mid-December, a 25% drop largely due to a Tesla stock sell-off. Tesla vehicle registrations in Europe have plunged 45% year-on-year, potentially linked to Musk's ties with former President Trump. However, analysts suggest this downturn may be temporary, citing potential profit-taking and promising projects like the robo-taxi service and self-driving technology in China. Despite Musk's numerous ventures, investors remain confident in Tesla's long-term potential. And now to FAA. The FAA's decision to use SpaceX's Starlink to upgrade its IT networks is raising conflict of interest concerns, especially as Elon Musk advocates for federal spending cuts, including at the FAA, while his company benefits from federal contracts. The FAA plans to test Starlink terminals to improve weather data reliability. However, Verizon, the FAA's current contractor, defends its ongoing modernization efforts under a 15-year contract, emphasizing the importance of a safe air traffic control system. This situation raises questions about fair competition and potential influence over government agencies regulating Musk's businesses. This leads us to the next story. Tonight, we examine the potential economic fallout from proposed aluminum tariffs. Alcoa's CEO, William Oplinger, warns that President Trump's 25% tariff on imported aluminum could trigger up to 100,000 job losses. Alcoa, reliant on Canadian aluminum, urges an exemption for Canadian exports. Coca-Cola's CEO also expresses concern, suggesting a potential shift to plastic and glass packaging. The White House defends the tariffs as vital for national security, while industry leaders fear they will harm American jobs and increase consumer costs. Now let's go to Ukraine. Tonight, we lead with breaking news. President Zelensky is expected to visit Washington, D.C., following an agreement on natural resources and reconstruction. This deal aims to grant the U.S. access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals while increasing U.S. involvement in Ukraine's reconstruction. Terms were agreed upon after revisions ensured the agreement contributes to Ukraine's security and peace. Former President Trump indicated Zelensky's potential arrival and willingness to sign the deal, suggesting Ukraine would receive substantial aid and the right to defend itself. This deal could pave the way for future security arrangements in Ukraine. Let's look at how European leaders reacting. On the anniversary of the war in Ukraine, European leaders reaffirmed their support for President Zelensky, while former President Trump's approach to the conflict faces scrutiny. Trump's desire for a deal raises concerns about potential compromises that could undermine European security. European leaders are increasing pressure on Russia with new sanctions, while Trump seeks a deal that could involve exploiting Ukraine's resources. Critics fear Trump's priorities are misplaced, and his... That's all the news we have for you tonight, folks. But don't go anywhere because the truth is out there, and we'll be back tomorrow to chase it down. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep those critical thinking caps on. Good night and keep the conversation flowing.